talent with past, present, and future All-Stars in his lineup at nearly every position. There's National League home run champ Ryne Sandberg, who's also won 8 Gold Gloves in 8 years. Possible Hall of Famer Andre Dawson, whose 300 steals and 2,000 hits can be matched only by Willie Mays. First baseman Mark Grace is a .307 lifetime hitter. And free agent acquisition George Bell makes the Cubs even more powerful. Bell has driven in over 700 runs in the last 7 years. It could be that Jim's Cubs have the most potent offense in the league. For the Phils, Dale Murphy continues to hit the long ball. But the key for the Phils tonight is starting pitcher Terry Mulholland, who last year pulled off a no-hitter against the Giants. This year, Mulholland is 5-2, and he has won 4 in a row. It's the Cubs and the Phillies next on Sunday Night Baseball. Friday night of the 16th inning, Dickie Thon delivers this hit, and Dale Murphy scores, and the Phillies beat the Cubs in an amazing ball game, 1-0. Then last night, John Kruk hit a bases-loaded 2-run double in the 8th. That put the Phils ahead. Then former Cub Mitch Williams came on in the 9th, and he wrapped it up. Tonight, the Phils try to sweep the Cubs. The crowd is gathering at Veterans Stadium. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, the Chicago Cubs and the Philadelphia Phillies. Hello, everyone. John Miller here at the Vet. It's a real cool night here. It feels like October. The Cubs were hoping to play in October, and they still might, but not the way they played so far. They're 2 games under 500. They scored only 2 runs in 25 innings in this series. What's with the Cubs? We've got Professor Joe Morgan here, the doctor of slumpology. And, Joe, what gives with the Cubs?
Well, you just said it. They're slumping. They're not hitting consistently. They're not hitting with men on base. Really, they're not hitting with no one on base. So I think the real problem is not their pitching staff, as most people think. Talking to Don Zimmer, he said he could not be happier with his pitching staff. He just needs some of his all-stars, his former MVPs, to act like that.
He's got plenty of them, too, in that lineup. Now, the Philadelphia Phillies, they lost one of their best players, Len Dykstra, and also their catcher, Darren Daulton, in a near-tragic automobile accident. And everybody, I think, felt the Phillies were finished. Instead, they have won 7 of 11 since that accident, and they are playing their best ball right now under manager Jim Fregosi.
Well, I think there's 2 reasons for that, John. Jim Fregosi being the main reason. He made these guys relax. He said, just relax and play baseball. Let's have fun. The other reason is Ricky Jordan. That when Dykstra went out, it allowed Jordan to come in and play first base, move John Kruk to the outfield. What he did the first couple of ball games, hit a grand slam, then hit a 3-run homer. He has been the key to their success since Dykstra's been gone.
All right, so the Phillies are going for the sweep tonight. They've got their best pitcher on the mound, Terry Mulholland, and he has won 4 in a row. The Cubs and the Phillies from the Vet. That's a Sunday night matchup. The young right-hander Bob Scanlan going for the Cubs, Mulholland for the Phils. Philadelphia, the downtown skyline is seen from Veterans Stadium. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball just moments away from starting. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for manager Don Zimmer's Cubs. Doug DeCenzo leads off in center field. Ryne Sandberg at second base. Mark Grace at first base. George Bell bats cleanup in left field, battling a slump. The Hawk, Andre Dawson, in right field. Luis Salazar on his birthday, playing tercera base. It'll be Sean Dunston at shortstop. Hector Villanueva is the catcher, batting 8th, and the pitcher is Bob Scanlan. Phillies are taking the field as you get quite a panoramic view of this gigantic ballpark in South Philly. And they are very pleased with what they've been seeing from their Phillies of late. Terry Mulholland will take the mound. He, with a victory tonight, will tie for the league leadership in victories. He's already won 5, and he has won 4 in a row, and including a couple on the recently concluded West Coast road trip in which the Phillies were very successful. Mulholland on the mound tonight. Joe, you saw him pitch a no-hitter last year against the Giants.
He pitched a great ball game. It was interesting in that game, John, because the first 3 or 4 innings, the Giants were hitting line drives all over the place, and they were catching them and making great plays. The last 3 or 4 innings, they couldn't touch him. Really an outstanding performance by Mulholland that night.
So there he is, Mulholland. He'll be working with the rookie, Darren Fletcher, although it's quite possible that Darren Daulton will be back behind the plate as early as Tuesday. He took batting practice tonight. He'll play tomorrow night against the minor league ball club in an exhibition game. And if all goes well there, he should be in the lineup Tuesday. So Fletcher back at the plate tonight. Elsewhere for the Phillies.
Defensively, they will have Dickie Thon, leader. He's the stabilizing influence at shortstop. Charlie Hayes playing good third base. Mickey Morandini been installed at second base tonight. Ricky Jordan, he's been the hero during this last weekend stretch. Left field will have John Kruk and Von Hayes. He is the guy that they traded 7 players for once. Dale Murphy is in right field.
It is a cool night in Philadelphia. There's manager Jim Fregosi. He's got his jacket on, and everybody will be wearing them if they're not in the ball game, because it's just you need a little help against this breeze, and the temperatures could get as low as the mid-40s tonight. Right now, still rather comfortable, 63 degrees. At least it would be comfortable if we weren't all used to 85, which it has been back here for the last few days. And that wind is a pretty stiff breeze blowing in from right and out toward left. 18 to 22 miles an hour, you see. Now, this series, quite an interesting one. These were 2 of the top scoring teams in the National League that came together Friday night. You're looking for one of those 8 to 7s, maybe. No, 16 innings. Look at all those zeros. More zeros than in any other Phillies game in history. That's the longest 1-0 game, 16 innings, that the Phillies ever played in their 108-year history. Then yesterday, the Phillies coming from behind, 4 in the 8th, and they pull one out, winning 5-2. So the Phillies have won the first 2 games of the series. Their record now at 500. And here come the Cubs, who are 2 below 500. Doug DeCenzo will lead it off against Mulholland. He is a switch hitter. And the Cubs are trying to get a little production out of that leadoff spot on the order. Jerome Walton, who was as the Rookie of the Year in 1989, got on base a lot, stole some bases, set the table for those big guns. Not been able to find anybody to do it so far this year. Strike 1. And we are underway.
And DeCenzo has played great against the Phillies, stealing bases, making great defensive plays, and hitting well. It's just one of those situations where he plays real well against the Phillies.
That's a pop foul that will come back out of play. There's Don Zimmer. Where is he? Come on, Zim. There's Don Zimmer, the manager of the Cubs. And I know, Joe, one of your favorite people in the game.
Well, he's always fun to talk to. Don Zimmer is he's really just a good baseball person.
2-strike delivery. Look out. DeCenzo got out of there in a hurry.
This may be a little message from the Philadelphia Phillies. I told you how well he's played against the Phillies, and this ball is right where his chin should have been. As they say, he's about 5'5". He's about my height. That's under the chin of the big guys, but over the head of us little guys.
Wow.
And they go back away again, John.
Just like you knew they would.
Yes.
1-2 to DeCenzo. Sandberg and Grace will follow.
But he has been outstanding against the Phillies, and they're just wondering about it. See, he's not very tall. Darren Fletcher's on his knees. I can laugh about his height, you know. He doesn't get mad if I talk about it.
Hey, even you could post this guy up. 1-2 pitch now. Curveball, and it misses inside. 2-2 the count.
Mulholland has just started to use that curveball. He basically throws a fastball, curveball, slider, and a change now. But he's just added the curveball to his repertoire.
That is deep down the left field line, hooking into the corner. Foul. Boy, the little guy muscled up there. There are the numbers on the leadoff situation. Walton, look at that on-base average, the 255. And DeCenzo doing better, but he hasn't played nearly as much. And Chico Walker also just a handful of at-bats this week. I'd like to see those high on-base averages, preferably up around 380 to 400 in that leadoff spot.
Correct, but I want to have a statement about that in a second.
Shortstop Dickie Thon throws out DeCenzo. DeCenzo gave him a good battle, but he is retired. One away.
DeCenzo was hitting .417, as I mentioned, against the Phillies just at the start of this season. He's 5 for his last 12. But, John, the Cubs are a little different team than most teams. You love to have your leadoff man on base, but it's not imperative for the Cubs to do well because they're a 2 through 5 hitting team. Ryan Sandberg gets on base. Ryan Sandberg is a good hitter. And then you have Mark Grace, Bell, and Dawson. That's where they expect to make hay.
Here's Sandberg, 40 home runs last year, and that's a strike on the outside. Sandberg off to his customary real slow start in April, and then heating up as is customary in May. He's hitting .271 for the year. Strike two. 2 strikes to count. Well, when you look at Sandberg and then you've got a guy like Dawson, those are 2 extraordinary talents. Guys who really produce big numbers.
Correct. I was laughing with him before the ball game. I said maybe next year they'll tell you the season starts is May 1st, even if it's April 8th. Maybe you should trick yourself into thinking it's May 1st. He has come up with some reasons for his slow starts.
2-strike pitch. Strike 3. Foul tipped it.
He set him up with 2 fastballs away, and then he comes back inside with that slider. Watch this ball break down and in. That is a tough pitch for a right-hander to handle. And Mulholland, he's kind of a stylish left-hander, not herky-jerky, kind of smooth, keeps his eyes on the plate, and he shows you the ball pretty quickly.
2 down, nobody on. Here is Mark Grace. Chase the high one. Strike 1. Grace looked none too pleased. What did Sandberg say? Why?
Well, he thinks that it's cold at the beginning of the season. He has to put too many clothes on. You know, he has an undershirt, T-shirt, so forth and so on, a sweatshirt. And he feels like he's all bundled up and he can't swing with all that on. I said, well, maybe you should just take the cold and go for it. But again, he feels like that's the problem. And once the weather warms up,
down the left field line, but foul.
He doesn't have any problems hitting after the weather warms up.
Well, this is sort of the weatherman here in Philadelphia playing tricks on Sandberg tonight. It feels like one of those early April nights here. 2 down, nobody on. Don is out. Hayes is in, and Vaughn Hayes, the center fielder, takes it. No trouble for Mulholland in the first inning. Cubs' miseries at the plate continue. No score after half an inning. Cubs did not score in the first. That's 2 runs in 26 innings for them now. Now the Phillies come to bat in this scoreless game. Last of the first, the starting lineup for Jim Fragosi's ball club. Vaughn Hayes leads off in center field. The rookie, Mickey Morandini at second base. John Kruk, he is red hot. He's in left field. Dale Murphy, the veteran, 6 home runs early in right field. Ricky Jordan, he's red hot at first base. Charlie Hayes over at third base, batting 6th. The rookie, Darren Fletcher, is the catcher. Dickie Thon, the hero, Friday in the 16th inning at short. And the pitcher, Terry Mulholland. And that lineup will be facing the Cubs' right-hander, Bob Scanlan.
And Bob Scanlan has a very good fastball and a good hard slider.
Scanlan, the pitcher, and the catcher, Hector Villanueva. Pretty good hitter.
Yeah, he's a great hitter in Chicago because he can get the ball in the air. And in Wrigley Field, that works out just right for him.
Now, Vaughn Hayes will lead it off for the Phillies. Hayes put in the leadoff spot after the automobile accident. Put Dykstra on the shelf. Hayes batting .200, and he's been lifting that batting average lately. He's off to one of the worst starts of his career.
He laughed because he said, I finally got it above the Mendoza line.
The Mendoza line, 200. Foul tip, strike 1. Hayes will be followed by Morandini and Kruk. Scanlan, 24 years of age from Los Angeles, and he had been in the Phillies farm system and was part of the trade. He went to the Cubs along with Chuck McElroy, another pitcher, in the deal that brought Mitch Williams to the Phillies. And there's a base hit for Vaughn Hayes.
Scanlan gets the fastball up, and Hayes pulls it in the hole. And he jerks it in the hole.
Hayes, since going into that leadoff spot, has hit safely in 9 of the 11 games he's played. And he scored 9 runs in the last 9 games, which is one of the measurements of a leadoff hitter. His job to score runs. Here's Morandini. Hayes has stolen 4 bases. But without Dykstra in there, Joe, Fregosi was saying before the game, one of the real factors the Phillies are lacking is speed in the lineup. Hayes used to run a lot faster than he does now. Strike one to Morandini. Kruk is on deck.
One thing will happen in the Cubs' favor is that Bob Scanlan has a slide step to the plate. That makes it awfully tough for Von Hayes to get a good jump and steal second base.
Knocked down, and Hayes will hold on at first base.
You can notice when I talk about the slide step, he does not pick his front leg up very high. Just kind of slides it toward the plate. And a base stealer makes up his time between the pitch and the throw to second base while the pitcher has his left leg in the air.
Scanlan is from Southern California, graduated from Harvard High School in North Hollywood, California. One ball and 2 strikes. He resides during the offseason in Beverly Hills. We should get to know this guy, Joe.
Yeah.
In the winter, we'll get out there. We can stop by and
I don't think it
see
rubs off, John.
Strike 3. So Morandini down on strikes, and you get a look at that good fastball there from Scanlan.
Very good fastball, good slider. That's a good fastball. You can see the movement on it. The ball started toward the middle of the plate, moved to the outside corner, 87 miles an hour. But more important than the speed is the movement, and he had good movement on that fastball.
Here's a guy you gotta love, John Kruk. Doesn't look particularly like a ball player. Got sort of an unorthodox looking stance, but this guy can hit. He's always hit, and never more so than right now. 323. Last night they brought in a tough left-hander who's been getting out left-handers, Ossenmacher. With Kruk coming up, Kruk hit a 2-run double against him that won that game. That is ball 2.
He's been the most consistent player, the Phillies have had, not just this year, but the second half of last year as well. And he's added another dimension to his game this year. He's always been a good hitter, but he's usually just a singles hitter. Now he has 5 home runs, and he also has 28 RBI, so he's producing in the power slot.
Yeah, his RBI total second best in the National League. And that's the ball. 3-0 to Kruk. Murphy on deck. Kruk went out on that West Coast trip. There's Murphy. And it was right after the automobile accident involving Dykstra and Dalton. And of course, they had been going home from Kruk's bachelor party. He felt real bad about it, but it didn't show in the field. He got red hot on the coast. High fly ball. Belden left. Easy play. Out number 2. And Vaughn Hayes retreats to first.
The Cubs defensively, Ryne Sandberg, 8-time Gold Glove winner at second base. Mark Grace, good hitter over at first. Sean Dunston, the guy that's really struggling for the Cubs right now with the bat. And Luis Salazar takes over for the rookie Gary Scott, who was sent down. Newly acquired George Bell in left, Doug DeCenzo in center, and the Hawk, Andre Dawson, Gold Glove winner in right.
And there's the panoramic look of this gigantic multi-purpose ballpark. Veteran Stadium. And ball 1 to Dale Murphy. Murphy not producing the huge numbers that he used to be known for in the earlier 80s. But he's been productive. That breaking ball is in for a called strike, 1-1. Murphy, 6 home runs, and now has 384 in his outstanding career. He says he likes hitting in this ballpark, but it's not Atlanta. He said he got spoiled hitting in Atlanta. Chases the slider, doesn't get it. 1-2 the count.
Wrigley Field in Chicago and Atlanta are the 2 best power hitters ballparks. You can hit it out in any direction in those ballparks. Here's straightaway center field, a little tough. Ball doesn't carry real well there. The alleys, the ball doesn't carry well. So a lot different ballpark than he's used to hitting in.
No score in the game, 2 down. Vaughn Hayes back to first. Grace on the bag with him. Murphy in this ballpark this year hitting .316, so he's enjoying the home cooking, but not quite as many home runs from here as in Atlanta. He'd hit, as Hayes gets back in, he'd hit 36 homers in an average year maybe, and in Atlanta maybe 24, 25 of them would be in Atlanta. There are his home and road numbers this year. 2 down. Hayes ready to go in anything. Into the hole at short. Dunston's got a great arm. He got him. Nice play. One bounce off the turf to get Dale Murphy. 1 ahead, 1 left, and at the end of 1 full, there is no score. Philadelphia, still twilight time here in the city of brotherly love. This is John Miller along with Joe Morgan, your ESPN Sunday night telecasters. George Bell, the hitter, and the breaking ball from Mulholland misses. Dawson and Salazar to follow. Bell, the last 2 weeks, really struggling. You see those home run and RBI numbers, very impressive early, but he broke a 1 for 26 slump with a single in the 6th inning last night. That's a slump.
That'll hurt you, especially this early in the season with not that many at bats. Interesting note, John. Ryne Sandberg and Bell played in the minor leagues together. They played 3 years in the minor leagues, and Sandberg talked to Bell during the winter and helped convince him to come and play in Chicago, and they're still very close friends.
Foul away, 2-1 to Bell. Well, George is going to have to get the feel for Wrigley Field a little bit, or he's going to feel that Rhino is telling him stories, because Bell has only hit 2 of his home runs in the friendly confines, and he hasn't done much at all there. You see those numbers, pretty anemic at Wrigley. That is a fair ball past Charlie Hayes. Kruk over to pick it up. Bell will hold with a single. Boy, he crunched that one.
George Bell has always been one of my favorite players to watch. When he was with the Toronto Blue Jays, I always felt he was the key to their ball club. He stays back and he uses his hands so well. He just ripped this ball past Charlie Hayes. Not a lot Charlie could do. He tried to knock it down, but no chance for him to come up with. The ball gets there awfully quick when you're at third base and some of the big guys are hitting.
Base hit for George Bell. Now Andre Dawson, the hitter. Andre also with 8 home runs, 23 batted in. Strike to the inside. The Hawk hitting .293. Got the night off here last night. He played all 16 innings Friday, and this artificial turf here in Philadelphia takes its toll on his knees. Ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the Cubs, and you look at Sandberg and then Grace, Bell, and Dawson. 4 outstanding hitters. 3 of them, Sandberg, Bell, and Dawson, have been MVPs in the not too distant past. High in the air into right field. Murphy takes care of Dawson, and Bell will have to go back to first. 1 away. No score. We're in the 2nd. Luis Salazar, and we will say cumpleaños feliz to Luis, who informed us that it was his birthday today. I said, how old are you? He said, well, I was 25 10 years ago. I said, then that's all I'm going to say. Salazar from Venezuela. Great arm, very versatile. Get a strong third baseman's arm, but he can play the outfield. He's played just about everywhere at one time or the other. Called strike. We're at the Vet in Philadelphia. Pretty good crowd on hand and a cool night. There is no score in the game. This is Sunday night baseball. The Cubs and the Phillies. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan. That's Joe over there. Might not have been able to pick him out, all of that crowd. Pitch is too high for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Salazar. Terry Mulholland. He came to the Phillies when they were bad and the Giants were good, and the Giants had need for a closer. They got Mulholland as part of a deal that sent Steve Bedrosian over to San Francisco in 1989, and ended up being a pretty good deal at that time. Bedrosian helped the Giants win it, but it's turning into a pretty good deal for the Phillies now.
Well, the Phillies also received another good young left-hander, Dennis Cook, in that deal. He was subsequently traded to the Dodgers. And he is now in the Dodger minor league system, but Dennis Cook is another guy that I think will eventually be a good major league pitcher. But you mentioned it was a situation where the Giants needed a closer. They were trying to win the pennant, which they did. And Steve Bedrosian was the guy they needed.
Bedrosian's with the Minnesota Twins now. 2-2 pitch. That breaking ball is lined into left center field, just over Dickie Thon. Bell will head to third, and he'll make it as Kruk throws back into second. Salazar gets his birthday started off nicely with a base hit. The Cubs with runners at first and third, one out in the second.
Well, Mulholland throws a breaking ball. It's a curve ball, not a bad pitch. It was down and away. Salazar just goes out and gets it. Stays right with it and lines it into left center field over the head of Dickie Thon, who just barely misses it.
Now, the Cubs have scored 2 runs in this series in 26 innings, nearly the equivalent of 3 full games. They have not had one single hit with a man in scoring position. Dunston, strike one.
This is a replay of our game in Seattle. When the Yankees and the Mariners had not had a base hit with a man in scoring position for 2 weeks.
You thought they were the only ones.
Yeah.
Sean Dunston, he's one of those guys slumping. You know, you think of Sandberg and Bell and Dawson in this club. He's an important member of this lineup. That's deep into left center. Playable out there for Vaughn Hayes, but that will get Bell home. So they don't get the hit, but they get the run. The sacrifice fly by Dunston, who has had only 1 hit in his last 26 at-bats, so he's glad to do that.
I know how some of these guys feel going 0 for 26, 1 for whatever. It is tough when you get in a slump, and especially when I talk to some of these guys like Dunston and Bell. They're not so upset because they're not hitting for themselves, but they're upset because they feel like they're letting the team down, and the team needs them right now.
Here's Villanueva, fouls it back, 0-1. Dunston with his 11th RBI of the year. Came into the game hitting only 197. You know, and he's a guy who's been hitting around 260, 270, getting his 15 to 17 home runs.
And driving in a lot of key runs for them.
So they've got some possibilities in this lineup when everybody gets going. You said at the outset of the telecast, it should be real productive.
Well, they should be, but talking to Don Zimmer, he feels like these guys will get started. But by the same token, he's not planning on it. He feels like his pitching staff is going to be pretty good. They're going to stay consistent all year, and that's how they're going to win.
Salazar at first, 2 down in the second. 1-0 Cubs. And 1-2 the count to Villanueva. Villanueva has great power in 35 at-bats this year. He already has 3 homers and 8 RBIs. And the Cubs, by the way, neglected to mention this, they have hit more home runs than any team in the majors up till now. Check swing foul. In fact, coming into this series, they had hit at least 1 home run in each of 14 consecutive games. They didn't even score in 16 innings Friday. Got only 2 runs last night. They did hit another home run last night. Cubs have hit 40 homers. There goes the runner, and Mulholland just crosses over to Morandini, and Salazar's retired.
Got a great jump.
A little bit of too good of a jump, I'd say. Not many guys would be would brave enough be the right term to stand all the way down there and catch a ball from that height. Here is Ricky Jordan. Cubs 1, Phillies nothing. Last of the second.
All those publicity, public relations kind of stunts are from Bill Giles. He is the owner of the Phillies now, but he was the public relations director with the Astros when I first came to the major leagues, and he still has that in him. Different ways of delivering the first pitch, etc., etc.
That's where the fanatic threw the ball on opening day, all the way from up there, and Ryan was all the way down there to catch it. Fanatic's got a pretty good arm, apparently. Jordan chasing that slider, and he doesn't get it. And Scanlan has made short work of it. Second strikeout for Scanlan. 1 out of the second, and here is Charlie Hayes now. Ricky Jordan has been, and you said it at the outset, one of the keys for the Phillies' recent resurgence, hitting .318 for the year, 4 homers and 18 batted in. And until the automobile accident, he really wasn't playing that much.
No, he was on the pine. He didn't have a a spot because John Kruk was playing first base, Von Hayes left, and Dykstra was in center, and Dale Murphy in right. So there was really not a spot for him. Kruk, who was playing the position that he plays, was doing better than anyone on the ball club. So you know you're not going to substitute him there.
Here's Charlie Hayes. And that one misses. Ball 2, 2-0 the count. Bruce Fremming is the home plate umpire. 1-0 Cubs ahead. And that's a ball. 3-0. Scanlan's a guy, you look at his minor league numbers, and not very good. I mean,
he had one good year in the minor leagues. We won 15 ball games, but his earned run average was 5 point something then.
That's right, in his good year, yeah.
Right, so very unusual.
Hayes draws the walk with 1 out. 1 out, 1 on, and the rookie Darren Fletcher is coming up. Last year at Scranton, AAA ball, he was 8-11 with a 4.85. The year before that at Reading, 6-10, a 5.78. And so off he went to the Cubs in the Mitch Williams deal. But he's pitched well since the Cubs put him in that rotation. Ball 1 to Darren Fletcher.
Don Simmers said before the ball game, he said, I don't know how he'll pitch tonight, Joe, but he has pitched very well for us. We're very pleased with his addition to our ball club.
He came up for the minor leagues 12 days ago. That's a ball. 2-0, and all of a sudden he can't find the strike zone. Made his first start at the Astrodome and gave them a real lift. 7 innings plus at Houston. And Scanlan, he gave up only 1 unearned run, and that was it. And then 5 days ago against Atlanta, 6 2/3 innings, he allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned, and had no decision. Cubs came back and won that game. That's a strike. 2-1. One to nothing Cubs, last of the second. Charlie Hayes at first. He's not much of a base stealer. That's a base hit in the left center. DeCenzo hustles over. Hayes will hold at second.
There's an example of what you were talking about, the fact that Dykstra out there's not a lot of speed. This ball was hit hard in the left center field, and a real good aggressive base runner would have been able to go to third. Guy with a little more speed. The ball is lined. It's not straight at DeCenzo. Watch, DeCenzo has to run it down, and by the time he runs it down, Charlie Hayes has decided to stay at second base.
Here's Dickie Thon. 281 batting average, 1 homer, 9 RBIs, including 1 here in the wee small hours Friday night. And the third base line off the glove of Salazar, and everybody's safe. He never did pick it up.
Charlie Hayes seemed to have injured himself a little bit at third base.
He looked like Kite Man in that slide.
Salazar at third, gets way down the crouch, starts for it, tries to backhand it, actually hits him off the left foot, and by the time he tries to pick it up, Charlie Hayes has slid past him. Here's Charlie Hayes. Now he doesn't know what to do. Now he decides he better slide. Real unorthodox slide there. He's lucky he doesn't have real spikes on. He may have injured his ankle. He's playing with rubber sole shoes on. Watch the ball hit him off his left foot right there, but it stays on the infield. Hayes comes sliding in. He's safe at third.
That'll be a base hit for Dickie Thon. The bases are loaded, and Mulholland is the hitter. Mulholland 1 hit in 21 at-bats. 1-0 Cubs, bases loaded. Cubs will be looking for the double play ball here. Any chance Fregosi might try something?
It's awfully tough to squeeze with the bases loaded because it's a force out at the plate. You have to have almost a perfect bunt in order for the runner to be safe. So I don't look for a squeeze here.
Strike 1. Just blew that one by him. At 21 at-bats, Mulholland has struck out 12 times. He does have 10 hits in his career in 152 at-bats.
Jim Fregosi.
To Grace for the plate and get the force. Not many are better than Mark Grace. defensively at first base. 2 down.
Mulholland checks his swing. It's a high chopper. Grace catches it in the air and fires a strike to Villanueva. And that retires Charlie Hayes. It's a very tough play. When you're coming in, you have to jump in the air and then come down and make an accurate throw. The play was a lot tougher than it looked.
Here is Vaughn Hayes. He singled his first time. The Phillies in need of a clutch hit. Scanlan from the windup. 1. Bases loaded. There is Darren Fletcher now at third base. Dickie Thon, the runner at second. And Terry Mulholland, without a jacket, the runner at first. 1-0 Cubs, 2 down. Hayes 1 for 1. And the breaking ball is strike. And Hayes didn't seem to agree. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good smart pitch by Scanlan. Hayes, being a veteran, was sitting dead red, sitting on a fastball there, and he threw him a breaking ball.
Scanlan taking an awful long time here. Like somebody froze the frame there for a moment.
You have to be very careful with a guy that's been around like Vaughn Hayes has and knows how to hit in certain situations.
2-1.
So Vaughn is definitely trying to get him into a position where he has to throw him a fastball, and hopefully it's going to be in the middle of the plate and he can do what he wants with it, either go up the middle or pull it.
Hayes only 3 hits in 28 at-bats with men in scoring position this year. And it is 3-1.
Well, they do not want to throw Vaughn Hayes the fastball so he can hammer on it. So they're thinking just the opposite of what Vaughn Hayes is thinking. But so far, Vaughn has been successful in this at-bat because now he has to get the fastball.
And here comes strike 2 on the inside.
If Scanlan is able to wiggle out of this, you have to give him credit for making some quality pitches. This is a fastball, but it's right on the inside corner. Not a lot that Vaughn Hayes could do with that. He wanted the ball out over the plate. In fact, he likes the ball out over the plate.
So they'll all be going now. 3-2 due down. Here they go. The pitch down the right field line. Foul. In amongst the spectators.
That was a fastball out over the plate, and that's where he wants it. Vaughn Hayes, being a tall guy, has long arms, and he likes to get his arms extended. So he wants the ball out over the plate. He can go the way he wants with it. Watch him extend his arms right there. A little too much top hand. That's why it looked foul.
Again, the runners take off. The breaking ball, strike 3. He tried to check and couldn't do it.
Great job of pitching by Scanlan. He threw the breaking balls when he had to, and he threw the fastball in the perfect spot when he had to. This is a 3-2 breaking ball. Nothing Vaughn Hayes could do with it. He was sitting on nothing but a fastball, and Scanlan is happy.
Phillies with a great threat, but they do not score. 1-0 Cubs. Oh, Morgan and Joe, they always told me in the National League, it's a fastball league on 3-2 with the bases loaded. You're going to get a fastball.
Well, Vaughn Hayes learned differently there. If that pitch would have been made in the 9th inning, it would be called a great pitch because that would have been a game-winning type of pitch. Here, early in the ball game, it's still a great pitch because the base is loaded. He could have really hurt him if he would have hit the ball in the gap.
So one of those early moments we may look back on as being a key moment in this ball game. They had the bases loaded and 1 out, and Scanlan got through it. Then he had the bases loaded with 2 out. And 3-1 the count to Vaughn Hayes. He was on the brink of disaster.
When you see a guy make quality pitches like that in that situation, you wonder how he could have had a 5 earned run average in the minor leagues.
I'm still wondering that. Here's the next pitch to Villanueva, foul back, 1 ball, 1 strike. And I'm sure the Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves are wondering that because he pitched well against both of those. Ball and a strike to Villanueva. He was at the plate when Luis Salazar took off on his mad dash and was then thrown out to end the second. Mulholland is high. 2-1 the count. The vet, great memories for Phillies fans in this ballpark, which opened in 1971. There's a called strike 2. One of the great things that have happened in Phillies history, and it's a long history, have happened in this ballpark, including 1983 when they had a second baseman by the name of Joe Morgan.
One of my most enjoyable years, or should I say one of my most enjoyable months. I enjoyed the last month of the season. I did very well, but up until that time I struggled.
Joe was a member of the Wheeze Kids, as they affectionately dubbed the Phillies of '83. Ball 4 to Villanueva. It was a play on words, the 1950 ball club with a lot of young talent, including Richie Ashburn, and they called them the Whiz Kids. And they won the pennant, lost the series to the Yankees. So 33 years later, when they had a lot of veteran talent,
older players,
real old guys.
Yeah.
Scanlan, the pitcher, coming up, and they called them the Wheeze Kids. But I think they had the last laugh. They won the National League pennant that year. Scanlan looking to bunt. He does. Throw down to second base. Nice scoop. They get the double play. Dickie Thon. Hey, we had the Carlton Fisk, Eddie Armbruster play relived there for a moment.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Throw was in the dirt from Fletcher, but Thon bailed him out.
That was an excellent play by Fletcher to block. See, he gets out in front. Now there's no place for Scanlan to go. He fires to second. Nice pickup by Dickie Thon. By the time he gets up, no, it's a very easy throw to first base, double play.
So DeCenzo will come up. Now that's when Fisk ran into Armbruster, he threw it into center field.
Well, that was Fisk's fault. He wanted
base hit for DeCenzo, and he is 1 for 2. 2-out single here in the third, and that will keep the inning going for Sandberg. Sandberg struck out his first time. Cubs lead 1-0. So the rule on that, in this play, the catcher and the runner collide, and it's just in play.
Right. Well, this was the same play before. Armbruster backed up, tried to let Fish get the ball. He did, and he threw it in center field, and they wanted interference.
You mean the Red Sox and
the
all of
Red
those
Sox,
New England fans.
And the New England fans.
Here's Sandberg, and the curve is low, ball 1.
Real baseball fans knew that there was no interference there.
For instance,
and thank goodness the umpire, Larry Barnett, knew it was not interference.
For instance, all those Cincinnati fans knew.
Yeah, all the real fans.
Some Phillies fans might not have known that rule either. Had Thon not fielded that one-hop throw to second there.
They would have wanted some interference as well, yeah.
Those real Cub fans would have known. All right. 1 ball, 1 strike to Ryne Sandberg. He's all bundled up tonight, just like early April. Perhaps we shouldn't expect too much from Rhino tonight. He chases one there, foul tips it, strike 2, 1-2.
Well, Mulholland has made some great pitches to Sandberg the first time up, striking him out. And now, again, this inning, he threw him a slow curve about 80 miles an hour, and that last fastball was 90 miles an hour, and it was knee-high and away. Unless you make mistakes, you know, most hitters are not going to be hammer you around. Nice throw to first. Pick him off.
Sandberg will try it again in the 4th inning. Wow, that's quite a move there by Mulholland.
Mulholland has a great step-off move to first. Watch his left foot. He takes it off and throws in the same motion. Ball gets there in time. DeCenzo is out. One of the problems of getting a big lead against a left-hander is that step-off move.
Don't see many who can throw it that hard when they short-arm it like that. Baseball returns to Philadelphia now. 1-0 Cubs, last of the third. And Mickey Morandini, the second-place hitter, leads it off against Scanlan. And there's that fastball inside, ball 1. Crunk and Murphy will follow. Scanlan got into all kinds of trouble in that second. Got through it.
But that shows that he's maturing as a pitcher, John. I guarantee you the problems he was having in the minor leagues is keeping out of the big inning. You get guys on, he couldn't pitch out of a jam. But he also gets a lot of help here in the major leagues. His catchers probably know exactly how to pitch each hitter, so they tell him that. And all that helps build his confidence and his confidence level of saying, hey, I can get these guys out in cut situations.
3-0 pitch, there's a strike. Now, this is a guy he doesn't want to walk. The big guy's coming up.
Exactly.
Morandini's had 40 at-bats. He is hitting 275. There's a strike, 3-2. Well, you know, I think when we go visit him this winter in Beverly Hills, maybe have dinner with him at Spago's, we can talk to him about all this stuff. bobbles it, but still gets him. Well, he's so good, you're surprised even when he just bobbles one like that.
Well, the thing that he does correctly here is he's in front of the ball, and he just keeps his whole body in front of it. Watch, he just keeps his whole body there. It hits off of his glove, but his whole body was in front of the ball. It was not going to get through him any kind of way. And a ball hit sharply like that, all you want to do is knock it down anyway.
Here's Kruk. He flied out shallow left his first time, takes ball 1. John Kruk. Looks kind of like to me like it could be the son of Don Zimmer.
Yeah.
He and Zim, very kind of lookalikes. Really felt bad about Kruk's wedding. I mean, talk about casting a pall over what should have been a joyous event after the bachelor party and Dykstra and the automobile accident, Dalton, his passenger. And that's a strike, 3-1. And then Kruk said at his wedding the next day, and they were all kind of depressed anyway, and then there were lots of reporters and writers and people trying to get into the church to make videotape of the wedding. And what should have been one of his happiest days was kind of a dark day.
Well, it'll always be a dark day in Philly history because they took 2 of their top players out for quite a bit of time. And you never know exactly how Dalton will perform after he returns, and Dykstra for that matter. You don't know if it will have a long-lasting effect on either one of their careers. So we'll have to wait and see.
3-2 pitch. High fly ball to Bell in left. 2 men gone here in the Phillies third. Now, one thing that the team the day after had the long flight out to the West Coast, the day after the accident. And, of course, everybody was just kind of learning what was happening, many members of the team. And so it was a real kind of almost a morbid flight out there. And Jim Fregosi, the night before the first game in San Diego of the trip, held a team meeting, and he just said, hey, everybody feels bad as Murphy fouls it away, but let's play ball, and let's not use this as an excuse. Says, let's not have anybody talk about this accident as being the thing that destroyed our ball club. Let's go out and play that much harder and get it done anyway. And they've done that. They're really kind of banded together. And it's a ball.
The real effect that Fregosi has had on the entire ball club, the pitching staff mostly, is the fact that he has let them know, hey, I'm with you, just relax and play baseball. Just relax and do the job. And they've been able to perform very well since he has taken over. And even after the accident, they've played very good baseball.
Jim Fregosi, good baseball man. Back as a manager in the big leagues. A high foul. Grace is chasing, but it's back out of play. We're at the vet. 1-0 Cubs over the Phils. Last of the third. Our Sunday night baseball telecast every Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern. You'll find us right here, 8 o'clock, all through the season. And hey, a friend of yours, Joe, just stopped by the booth, the Philly Fanatic.
He's the best.
He's trying to audition. I think he wants to be our third man in the booth.
Not enough room in here for all of us.
Fanatic. I think he's maybe the best, one of the mascots.
Yeah, he's a good dancer, too.
Over at short, Dawson, and he throws him out. Scanlan has a very quiet third inning here. Cubs 1, Phillies nothing. We're a third of the way through it. We'll be back. Here, it's always a treat to see the Philly Fanatic. He has a few things he'd like to try to help my on-camera appearance, I think, Joe.
I used to beat him up when I was here, John.
Yeah, give me a good sheen up there. Now I'm ready. Deep to right. Sandberg way back there, and caught at the wall by Murphy and dropped. Sandberg into second with the double. Murphy went into that wall hard out there.
The fine attempt by Murphy. He actually caught it, but the wall jarred it loose. You see him shaking his head because he knew he had it. Watch, he turns around. He doesn't know exactly where the wall is here. He leaps up, actually never caught the ball. He misses it, and it comes away, and he fires into second. Sandberg has a double. The ball is over his outstretched glove, and no chance. Actually, clean double all the way.
Well, the ball kind of disappeared behind him there, and I thought he'd caught it at first. Here is Grace into center. Sandberg's going to go back and tag up. Hayes with the catch. Here comes Sandberg. Here comes the throw. And he is. Nice play by Vaughn Hayes.
It is still a good play by Sandberg. It takes a perfect throw from Vaughn Hayes to get him, and a perfect tag by Charlie Hayes. The throw is right on the money. If it's a foot off, he's going to be safe. Sandberg thinks he's safe anyway, but it takes a perfect throw to get him. So I think the play, it was worth the gamble. We're going to get a closer look at it. Sandberg thought he was by him before Hayes makes the tag. And I see he has an argument.
Here's George Bell. 2 down and nobody out. Strike one. Bell swinging at the bad ball. It's a big play because the Cubs, with guys like Bell and Dawson still coming up, are poised to score here.
Well, it's a big play because they have not been scoring a lot of runs. But Sandberg made the right play.
Bell fouls one down off his foot. Bell singled and scored in the second. He is 1 for 1. 1-0. Cubs ahead. That's the only run of the game up till now. Cubs have 4 hits now. Philly fanatic, by the way, who's up here. Actually, David Raymond. He's the son of the head football coach at University of Delaware, Tubby Raymond. And David himself is the special teams coach for the Delaware Blue Hens.
He did kind of have a football mentality about him.
And that's actually the way he looks. He doesn't have to wear a suit or anything to do that. See, he's a real talented fellow. 2 down, nobody on. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count to George Bell. He backs away. George's younger brother, Juan Tito Bell, in the big leagues now with the Baltimore Orioles. He's a middle infielder. Too high. They both hail from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. And their father is quite a player in his own right. Claims that he's better than either one of these guys. And George says that he probably was. That's a foul out of play off to the right. And George is a guy who, in his home country of the Dominican, I think he's one of these guys who's kind of misunderstood in a different culture here. Right. He is very much involved in charities and building orphanages, and raising money for those who need it. And he gives a lot of his, not only his money, but his time and his energy. That ball is caught by Jordan, and Bell is retired. 1 hit, nobody left. And we've got Jordan Hayes and Fletcher coming up for the Phillies. 1-0 Cubs. And this play may have turned that inning around.
Oh, he's safe.
Nope, out.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by Dollar Rent-A-Car. Right on the airport, right on the money.
And we've got 1 out here at the vet as Ricky Jordan has just grounded out to third, leading off the 4th inning. So Jordan is down, 1 away, and here is Charlie Hayes.
Well, Jordan hits the first pitch to third baseman Salazar, 1 hopper. Salazar charges, makes a good play. He's got a good, strong, and accurate arm. And Jordan's retired.
Jordan 0 for 2. And the batter, Charlie Hayes, who walked his first time. Scanlan to the plate. And Salazar lets it go to Dunston, who shows off that arm. 2 down.
Dunston has been throwing harder to first base than some of the pitchers have. Last ground ball he threw across the last inning was 84 miles an hour.
don't know if there's anybody who has a better arm anywhere or maybe ever.
I don't think I haven't seen anyone with a better arm than he has, and especially for an infielder.
We mentioned Tito Bell, the younger brother of George Bell. Tito not going to play much shortstop in Baltimore with Cal Ripken there, but he's got a tremendous arm as well. I don't know if it's as good as Dunstan's, but comparable. Here is Fletcher. Singled his first time. 1-0 Cubs. 2 down, nobody on.
Quick inning.
Mark Grace will handle it. And the Phillies now have had 8 men in a row retired since they had the bases loaded in the second. 1-0 Cubs. Philadelphia 1-0. The Cubs are out in front. Andre Dawson will lead it off for the Chicago's here in the fifth. They'll be followed by Salazar and Dunston facing Terry Mulholland. And that's a ball. 1 run and 4 hits for the Cubs. No runs and 3 hits for the Phillies. Interesting about the Yankees putting Steve Sachs at third base so they can bring up the rookie Kelly to play second. That's down the left field line and foul.
Well, Kelly had been playing very well in the minor leagues, and it was just a matter of time before he came up. That's actually how all those trade rumors started about Steve Sachs, because they knew that they were going to want to bring him up pretty soon. And some of the trade rumors were stating that Steve Sachs was going to go elsewhere.
That's a base hit into left field for Dawson. So he is 1 for 2. Andre Dawson, one of the best. 354 lifetime home runs, 303 stolen bases in his career, and 2,241 base hits now. And only Willie Mays ever had more than 300 homers, more than 300 steals, and more than 2,000 hits.
In fact, Mays had 3,000, 3,000, 3,000.
Yeah, just.
Well, he had 660 lifetime home runs, but he had over 3,000 hits.
So, in a way, it's kind of just a statistical oddity. You could come up with a lot of those if you figure the numbers right. But nonetheless,
it's a great accomplishment.
It is. It doesn't mean that he's in the class of Willie Mays, but he's up there in a class where not many have ever played. The Hawk, Andre Dawson.
Well, you know how I feel about Willie Mays. I think he's the greatest player to ever put on a pair of baseball spikes, as they say. But Dawson has been a very fine player throughout his career, and I think he's one of the most underrated leaders on any ball club.
It's 2-1 now to Luis Salazar. He singled his first time. Dawson, a 283 lifetime hitter. Last year he hit 310. That's the best he's ever hit. And he's had 5 different years where he hit better than 300 in his career. He's hit as many as 49 home runs in a season. That's strike 2. And last year, Dawson, the year before, a lot of people thought he was finished. Had that terrible 89 playoff series against the Giants. Came back strong last year.
Well, he had a lot of knee problems the year before. He got his knee problems cleared up over the winter, and he had a very good season.
Dawson at first. Nobody out. We're in the top of the 5th. Mulholland to Salazar. And Hayes scoops it up. Second one to first. Double play. Turned very quickly by Morandini at second base.
Charlie Hayes has really started to play great defense at third base. This takes good hands. Watch how soft his hands are on this play. Just relax, comes up with it, fires to second base. Morandini was a little late getting there. The throw is high, but he comes down, fires to first.
Looks like he forgot to tag second base.
He was in the air there a long time. It's all right.
And Dunston coming up. Didn't mean to.
John, it's okay if you miss it every once in a while, as long as you're not doing it intentionally. As long as they don't think you're cheating. See, he wasn't cheating there.
Now, what rule is that again? That's a ball, a little bit low. 2-0 the count. Well, Morandini. And that throws a guy off when he gets a high throw like that.
The one thing you fear most as a second baseman is a high throw, because you're very vulnerable while you're in the air.
Charlie Hayes throws out Dunston. The inning is over. Cubs have hit into 3 double plays in the last 3 innings. But they lead the Phillies 1-0.
For years, if you wanted a beautiful, healthy lawn, you had to collect your grass clippings in a container like this. But Toro Recyclo-Mowers cut without bagging, turning clippings into fine pieces that become a natural fertilizer, not thatch. So, for a beautiful, healthy lawn today, you don't have to put your clippings into this container. You can simply put them into this one. Check the yellow pages for the Toro dealer nearest you.
When you grow up with a swimming pool in your backyard, the world's largest sandbox, and seats to the finest concerts, your standards tend to be rather high, especially when it comes to coconuts. And the favorite in paradise is the Calapuno, sweetened by the sun and moistened by the mist. Only one thing can top it. Bounty Calapuno coconut topped with chocolate. It's the taste of paradise.
This is a commercial about a love affair. A love affair between all of us and a game. A game we grew up watching and playing and talking about. It's with that feeling in mind that MCI has created Friends and Family. Now, every time MCI customers call another customer on their Friends and Family list, they save an extra 20%. Enough to go to a few more games. Call now and enter to win a trip to the All-Star Game for you and 12 friends and family.
For 35 years, Midas has been providing quiet, installing quality products for clean, safe, and quiet driving.
Well, it's time we made some noise. Midas announces Quiet Riot Day. We're celebrating our anniversary with great values on quality muffler, brake, and suspension services. Guaranteed. So get to the riot, and we'll provide the quiet. The Midas Quiet Riot. For great values, nobody beats Midas. Nobody!
ESPN Major League Baseball and a triple header for Memorial Day. It'll be the Red Sox and Yankees at 1, then the Expos and the Phillies right here at the Vet, 7:30, and then the world champion Reds and the San Francisco Giants at 10:30. Triple header on Memorial Day. Don't miss it. Here's a pop-up hit by Dickie Thon, and Sandberg takes it, and there is one away. Thon was the last man to reach base against Bob Scanlan with an infield hit back in the second. That loaded the bases with 1 out. And since then, Scanlan has been perfect. Pretty good crowd on a Sunday night and cool conditions here. We got some aggressive hitters all of a sudden in this ball game.
On both sides. I mean, Scanlan's retired the last 5 guys on 7 pitches.
And that's a strike to Mulholland. Mulholland was up there with the bases loaded in the second and bounced to the first baseman, who forced Charlie Hayes at the plate. Look at him swinging the bat tonight. And the Hawk takes it. 2 down. Dawson with the foot out, and we go to the top of the order for Vaughn Hayes. Well, the Red Sox got pounded again today by the Texas Rangers, as we saw those updates from Chris Berman back at the studio, and they really routed Roger Clemens last night.
I still can't believe that. Roger giving up that many runs in 1 ball game.
What did he give up? 9? Got knocked out in the 6th. The final
13 hits.
The final score was 13-5. Vaughn Hayes is singled and struck out. The thing that's astounding is that he gave up a home run the first pitch of the game to Brian Downing, gave up 4 runs in the 3rd. And we didn't see the game, but it seems obvious he didn't have it. Yeah, but he still was out there to take a pounding as late as the 6th inning. 0-2 the count to Vaughn Hayes. Scanlan looks fantastic. Throwing strikes. He's ahead of the hitters. He had 1 big problem spot in the second. He survived it. And he has really gotten it going since. And he is ahead 1-0.
In the days of the bench jockeys, they would say, Bob, you're pitching good now, but that 5.0 earned run average will catch up with you.
5.0 in just about every season you might care to look at in his minor league career. 1-2 the count. The outfield very deep for Hayes. In the dirt. 2-2. Morandini would be next. And there get a look at the outfield. Center fielder descends is almost out of the picture out there. He's way back. He's got a lot of respect for Hayes' power. Hayes was popping the ball during batting practice. 3-2.
This is amazing. They have decided that they're not going to give Von Hayes a fastball. Okay, but he got ahead in the count. Now he comes back with 2 high changeups. That's not good pitching right there. If you want to throw him the breaking ball, finish him off at the breaking ball. Don't change pitches.
Well, he throws the slider and is unable to finish him off. He walks him. Morandini will come up. They're showing Hayes a great deal of respect.
A lot of respect. The problem is not this last pitch, this breaking ball that walks him on ball 4. That's not the problem. It was the 2 changeups. He bounced one and threw one high. And he had not been using the changeup as his out pitch in this ball game. He's been using the fastball and the slider. There was no reason for him to change his pattern.
Here's Morandini. Now, is that something maybe Villanueva, who doesn't do a whole lot of catching, maybe the more veteran catcher might handle him a little bit differently?
There's no doubt he should not have changed his pattern. I remember something Pete Rose told me once. He said if pitchers were as smart as they should be, we'd all hit 190.
Back to first is Von Hayes. Remember, he has stolen 4 bases this year. And there's not much chance Morandini would get him home from first base.
But with the slide step that Scanlan's using, it's tough for him to get a good jump.
He's back again. Grace on the bag with him. Greg Bonet is the first base umpire over there. Ed Montague at second. Mark Hirschbeck, whose brother is an American League umpire. John Hirschbeck is the third base umpire here. That's a foul out of play off to the left. 0-2 the count.
Kind of like the Crawford family. You know, every officiating runs in the family, the blood. In fact, Shag Crawford, we talked about him last week. He lives in this area. He was a former Major League umpire and the father of Joe and Jerry Crawford.
That's strike 3, and Morandini goes down. He is 0 for 3. 4th strikeout for Scanlan. He's got a 3-hitter going. We head to the 6th inning. 1-0 Cubs.
I'd like to make a simple point about a gasoline additive called ProGuard. You see, without proper care, even new car engines accumulate deposits that can lead to a rough-running engine. Fortunately, there's ProGuard. Added to a single tank full of gasoline, ProGuard's patented Tecron chemistry begins cleaning deposits not only from fuel injectors, but throughout your engine's intake system for a noticeably smoother performance. ProGuard, for a smoother running engine.
To own a British estate like this, one needn't be wealthy or even British. Simply be the first to find another car with all the standard features of a Sterling for $28,500 or less, and we'll buy you an estate. So look around and drive a Sterling. One way or another, you'll be moved.
Today, we are celebrating a commitment by you, Paul, and you, Victoria, to spend the rest of your lives together.
Unlike certain other of life's commitments, John Deere will give you 30 days to back out. If within 30 days you're not completely satisfied with your John Deere mower, we'll give you your money back. Because in a matter as important as a lawnmower, you deserve to be happy.
So long as you both shall live.
Today, a woman needs a life insurance plan of her own.
State Farm sells life insurance from an agent who's there for you today and there tomorrow, too. You see, we start you out right with a plan specifically designed for a woman's needs. One that protects the people who count on you for so very much. And the State Farm agent will be there tomorrow, too, as your life changes, to keep that plan working for the people you love.
State Farm sells life insurance.
It's 1-0 here at the Vet on Sunday Night Baseball. I'm John Miller, along with Joe Morgan. Joe, the Cubs still not showing that they're out of this slump yet.
Well, one good thing, they haven't left anyone on base tonight. They have scored 1 run, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take a course of 5 or 6 ball games where they have good games, good hitting ball games before they feel like they're out of the slump. Hitting is really confidence, and I think right now their confidence is not really where it should be, even though they have a lot of veteran players. If you're not hitting, you usually have a little problem.
And one thing in terms of the confidence, when they leave here, they go to Shea Stadium, and they'll be facing at Shea Stadium in order Doc Gooden, Frank Viola, and Ron Darling. Just what a slumping club needs, right? Here's Villanueva taking ball one.
That's a good point, John, but sometimes when the team is struggling and they face a pitcher, say a Dwight Gooden, who is overpowering, that makes you more aggressive, and it really helps you attack the baseball.
He attacked that one, but Charlie Hayes got it. The long throw out at first. Yeah, they're giving Charlie Hayes a workout over there tonight.
And he has shown me that he can really play that position now. He struggled a lot last year at third base. This is a smash. And that's a big league stop right there. Comes up. He uses the AstroTurf intentionally. You see him throw it directly down into the ground. One hop to first base. Davey Concepcion actually started that maneuver when he was with the Cincinnati Reds, using the AstroTurf to help you throw from deep in the hole or deep behind the bag at third. See, Hayes comes up with it. Now watch, he intentionally throws down right there into the ground. One hop, right on line.
Scanlan, the hitter, with one strike. And strike two as he shoots one up in amongst the spectators.
Wonder what his batting average was going along with that 5 ERA in the minor leagues.
Well, let's see. His big league batting average is 0.
I know that, but his minor league average, he might have been in the DH league.
Well, that could be. There are not many pitchers, even in National League teams, who ever bat in their minor league career. 1-2 the count. DeCenzo, the leadoff man, is on deck. From a breaking ball did Mulholland. And he hit it fair ground, but he is thrown out. 2 down. Sure didn't show that he was going to handle Mulholland's fastball there. See the Cubs on the road. Not much. 6-13, hitting only .224 at home. In the friendly confines, 11-6. And that's been the story over the years. They play real well usually in Chicago.
Chicago is a good hitter's ballpark. And they have the Sandbergs, the Dawsons, the Graces, and now George Bell to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So they are going to play better at home because they're going to outscore their opposition.
Here is Doug DeCenzo. Grounded a short and singled, but then after singling in the third, he was picked off on a devastating move by Mulholland. Strike one. 1-0 Cubs. We're in the top of the 6th inning. 2 down and nobody out. And that's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Interesting note on the pickoff from Mulholland. Last year, in his second start, they stole 3 bases off of him in the 1-ball game. And after that, he changed his motion, used the step off, and they never stole another base the entire season off him last year.
The Expos get 3 steals in one game, and nobody ever stole again?
Not for the remainder of the season. When he started using that step-off move that he picked DeCenzo off with.
And DeCenzo sure knows why. That's foul. Earlier in the game, Salazar was at first base with 2 down in the 2nd inning. And with Mulholland set at the belt, he just took off. And Mulholland calmly stepped off the rubber and threw to second to throw him out. So, in effect, he's had 2 pickoffs tonight. The 2-2 pitch popped him up. Middle of the infield, everybody's going after it. But Ricky Jordan wants it, and he takes it. So, Mulholland is looking strong. Phillies have Kruk, Murphy, Jordan. 1-0 Cubs. 1972, and Steve Carlton is traded from St. Louis to Philadelphia, even up for Rick Wise. Seemed like a good trade, but Carlton was unhittable that year. 27-10 on a Phillies team that was terrible. The Phillies won only 59 games and finished 37.5 games out. Still, Carlton won 15 straight games and struck out 310. He was not only the choice in Philly, but it was the writers' unanimous choice for the Cy Young Award. Steve Carlton, one of the greats of the game, and certainly one of the most incredible seasons that any pitcher has ever put together. When he was on the mound, the Phillies were a World Series kind of a ball club, and otherwise they were terrible.
He was a great pitcher, no doubt about it. won over 300 ball games. He was a teammate of mine here in '83 when we played in the World Series against the Orioles.
Lefty. Here's, speaking of lefties, John Kruk, and he takes a strike.
He was a guy that you didn't have to say Steve Carlton or Steve, lefty, and everyone knew who you were talking about.
Bob Scanlan. Well, he's pitching tonight. People will be talking about him in the years to come. He looks pretty good. 0-2 the count. John Kruk and Don Zimmer. Now, somewhere, are these guys related or what? Somebody better do a genealogy of these two guys. And that's foul. John Kruk. That's when he's up there, you expect Zim to say, "That's my boy."
Dwayne Kuiper, who played for the Cleveland Indians, he says of Don Zimmer, he has a baseball face and a baseball body. So I'd have to say, you have to say the same thing about John Kruk. That's a throwback to the old days, the way the players used to look. Don Zimmer. Don was a good player in his day.
Back in the old days, back about the 14th century. John Kruk, he can really hit. There's a high fly ball into rather shallow left center. DeCenzo's got it, and there is one away. The Phillies have not had a hit since the second inning. Dale Murphy. And Joe, how do you pitch to Murph?
Well, Dale Murphy is a guy that's always been pretty vulnerable up and in. You can throw the fastball up there, and you throw a lot of breaking balls out here. That's basically the way to pitch him. You have to stay out of the middle of the plate. A lot of problems if you get the ball in the middle of the plate to Dale Murphy. But he doesn't like the ball in the time up. Is the real problems that he has.
So we'll try and keep that in mind now as we watch Scanlan go after Murphy. Murphy has twice grounded a shortstop in this game.
When he played in Atlanta, you pitch him up and away, and he'd hit the ball into the right field seats. He would just go the other way. That's one of the problems he has here in this ballpark. You hit the ball the other way, and it doesn't always go out.
Down and in from Scanlan. Ball one. 1-0 Cubs. Last of the sixth. Murphy's still one of the great gentlemen of the game, and a great member of the community. And he just seems to be tireless in his devotion to public works, to charities. Somebody comes along and asks for Murphy to help out with a project, and he seems to always be there.
Very nice guy, very a class individual. That's
deep to left field, and this one is gone. A booming home run. Number 7 for Murphy. 2-0, or the game rather, is tied up.
We talked about not getting the ball in the middle of the plate to Dale Murphy, or he could cause you some problems. This pitch is right in the middle of the plate, and he gets hurt. Watch the location of it, right in the middle of the plate. Breaking ball that hangs right in the middle, and Dale Murphy still knows what to do with that hanging breaking ball.
And there's George Bell. Ay, caramba.
He said, I wish I could hit one like that.
That was a shot. Here is Ricky Jordan now. Number 7 for Murphy, and he has hit 30 home runs lifetime now against these Cubs. He's hit better against the Cubs than against any other team over the years. Swinging strike 0-2 the count to Jordan. So, game is all tied up. Murphy's 385th career home run. He's hit more than any other active player. Jordan has struck out and grounded out. Strike 3 call. 5th strikeout for Scanlan.
Well, Scanlan shows that Dale Murphy's home run did not hurt his confidence. Fastball right on the outside corner, knee high. That's what you call a perfect pitch.
2 down.
Pitcher.
Yeah. Jordan he wanted to call it too low.
Yeah, if you're a hitter, you think it's too low or maybe even a little bit outside.
Charlie Hayes has walked and grounded a short. Boy, Murphy, that was a home run hitter's home run.
That's a big league home run. You're right.
He might have cleared that wall in the Astrodome with that one.
last time I hit one like that, I bogeyed the hole.
Dale Murphy. He is now 35 years of age. There was a lot of talk last year in Atlanta. Even this spring. This spring he kept hitting singles all through the spring. Never muscled up and hit one out of the park, and they started worrying. Like, geez, 35 now? Has he lost that power? But he's got 7 home runs, and he certainly displayed some awesome power there. Hayes with a foul out of play off to the right. Murphy with the 7 home runs in 132 at-bats, so that's 1 every 19 at-bats. That'll get you 30 if you play every day.
Well, he's hit over 20 for like 8 straight years. 9. Okay, that's good. And you have to have a lot of power to do that, to be consistent as he has over his career.
Well, let's see, 1982 he hit 36, and he's never hit fewer than 20 in any year since then. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Scanlan comes back and strikes out the next 2. But the Phillies have tied the game courtesy of Dale Murphy, number 385. Sandberg, Grace, and Bell coming up for the Cubs as we head to the 7th inning. There's that home run swing one more time. He knew where it was going.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Subaru. We built our reputation by building a better car. And by Franklin, the official batting glove of Major League Baseball.
John Miller and Joe Morgan from the Vet in Philadelphia. Sunday Night Baseball. Next Sunday, we'll be in Milwaukee. We've got the Cleveland Indians with a vastly revamped lineup, and the Milwaukee Brewers with Monitor and Yount, and a few new faces there as well. Next Sunday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. And here come the Cubs in a 1-1 game, and the power is up for Chicago. Sandberg, Grace, and Bell. Dawson due fourth.
Sandberg hit a ball off the right field wall his last time up. It would have been a home run in Chicago. But here it was a double. He was thrown out trying to get the third on a fly ball.
Strike 1 from Mulholland. By the way, Dale Murphy with his 385th home run. Now 26th place all time. He moved ahead of Eddie Murray of the Dodgers, who's also still an active player. Eddie may move ahead of him in the next few days.
I was going to say, that may be one of those back and forth all year long.
He is also 4 home runs behind, as you see the all-time list there. We're looking at it in the booth, not you at home. This is our own private conversation here. Sandberg toward the middle. Don has it. Throws him out. Sandberg retired, 1 away. He is 1 for 3 in the game. Murphy is now 4 home runs behind Johnny Bench on the all-time list. There. Now we're going to let you see it at home. All right. And you see Murphy now with 385, Murray 384, then Dave Winfield 382, Dwight Evans 381, and Dawson and Fisk 354.
Carlton Fisk with his 354, that's the most ever by a Major League catcher.
He broke Bench's record.
Yes.
Broke Barra's American League record, and then later he broke Bench's all-time record. Bench with 389 total, but not all of them as a catcher. Sandberg takes one a little bit low. Grace.
Interesting. Grace hit over 300 against left-handers last year, and he's really struggling against left-handers this year. It's amazing that, you know, that big a change in 1 year.
Popped him up. This one is up there. It may take a while before it comes down. And Morandini chases Jordan off of that one, and Grace is 0 for 3. That brings up George Bell. Bell's a home run hitter. He's hit a few in his time.
Hey, that's interesting. All of his home runs have gone to left field. Look at that. So that means that he is a dead-pull hitter. In 1990 as well as 91.
They all went to left field, and they all left a streak of neon in the path. Bell has hit 210 home runs in his career. Ball 1. Bell was one of those guys. He was in the Phillies farm system. You touched on it earlier when he played as a teammate with Sandberg in the minors. And that's ball 2 from Mulholland. and was one of those unprotected players that the Rule 5 draft, the Blue Jays took a shot, drafted him, had to keep him on the ball club the whole year. It was a tough year for both he and the Jays. He didn't play much, didn't hit much, but eventually turned into a great deal for them. And they did that with a number of players in Toronto.
When you watch George Bell, he has an uppercut in his swing there from the overhead view we have. This is the reason that he's struggling a little bit right now. Everything he's hitting, he is under it. He's hitting the bottom half of the ball.
Shoots that one foul.
As soon as I say that, he throws him a slider down and low, and he gets the top half.
Great swing. I'm sitting there saying to myself, what's Joe talking about?
But he has, when he was struggling 0 for 26 and 1 for his last 32 or whatever it is now, he has been hitting a lot of pop-ups, a lot of fly balls because he is under everything. And there is such a thing as hitting the top half and the bottom half.
And there's high fly ball. Routine for Murphy.
Sometimes I know what I'm talking about.
All right, I'm impressed now. 1-1. The last of the 7th inning. It's a 1-1 tie. Darren Fletcher, Dickie Thon, and Terry Mulholland do up the last third of the order against Bob Scanlan. And there's a swinging strike one on a foul by Fletcher, who has singled and grounded out to first. A 1-1 tie. Dunston with a sacrifice fly back in the 2nd for the Cubs run, and then Murphy with a long home run in the 6th for the Phillies to tie the game.
And they went 16 innings the other night after they were tied. They were tied from the 1st inning.
Are you making a prediction?
No. But it is an enjoyable night here at the ballpark.
I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Crowd's enjoying it. Scanlan delivers, and that's ball 2. 2-1 to Fletcher. Again, Darren Daulton scheduled to play tomorrow night in the exhibition against the Phillies minor league affiliate. Ball goes well. Could be activated Tuesday. Changeup. Swung on and missed. 2-2 the count.
Well, he finally made good use of that changeup. He's thrown it about 4 times, and that's the first time he's been able to get it in the strike zone or get the hitter to swing at it.
Speaking of changeups, one of the great changeups of all time was thrown by the left-hander Johnny Padres.
Yes.
And he is in the hospital now. He had surgery. They expect him back Tuesday. Mark Grace, nice play. And that is one away. Roger McDowell wanted us to tell Johnny Padres in the hospital that all of the pitchers and everybody with the Phillies, they're all thinking of him and wish him well. There is Harry Callis on the left side of the screen there. One of the great voices in the game. Chris Wheeler working alongside him there. Broadcasting Phillies baseball.
I haven't heard him. Give me a little Harry Callis.
Well, Joe, that brings up Dickie Thon. Fine right-handed hitter hits a foul ball out of here off to the right.
That's him exactly.
I said that at least 10 times before.
Harry Callis, you recognize his voice in all of those NFL films.
Phil Simms hands the ball off, and Morris takes it into the end zone. The Giants were on their way.
Harry and we were rookies together in the major leagues. He was a rookie announcer for the Houston Astros, and I was a rookie player. And we spent a lot of time together. We've been very close friends ever since that time.
He didn't look that old.
Thank you, John.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Neither do you.
In fact, you know, I mentioned Bill Giles was also there with us. He was the public relations director for the Astros. He came here, became the owner of the team, and when he first moved over here, he brought Harry Callis with him.
Harry.
He traded for him, brought him from the Astros.
Is that right?
Yeah. Harry was a free agent. He signed him up.
Strike 3 call on the outside. Dickie Thon retired. Now let's go to Chris Berman. Chris.
Thank you very much, John. Streaks, peaks, and valleys. Wally Joyner, a bunt single today. His hitting streak is up to 15 for the Angels. The Giants win when Bud Painted Black pitches. It's that simple. When he doesn't pitch, they don't. And Corey Snyder really scuffling, as they say. Let's go back to Miller High Life himself.
All right, Chris, thanks. Here's Mulholland, the hitter. A left-handed pitcher who bats right-handed. Rather unusual. He's 0 for 2 in the game. And he takes the ball outside. 2-0 the count.
That was a great pitch there by Bob Scanlan.
It's a strikeout Thon.
Yeah. Excellent pitch. 93 miles an hour. We'll get another look at it. 93 mile an hour fastball right on the outside corner.
And they're saying that is the hardest one he's thrown tonight. That's a ball outside. 3-1 to Mulholland. The starting pitchers have been outstanding tonight, and neither bullpen has had to work at all up till now. And we're in the 7th inning. A 1-1 game. There's a strike. 3-2 now to Mulholland. Mulholland, 1 hit in 23 at bats for the year now. 2 down, nobody on. 3-2 pitch. He's got himself a base hit.
Well, Mulholland gets a 3-2 fastball. May have been ball 4, sinker. And we'll get a better look at it here. In the middle of the plate, but it's down, and he pulls it in the hole past Luis Salazar and Sean Dunston.
Now Vaughn Hayes, the leadoff hitter, comes up. He is single, struck out and walked. 1 for 2. Runner at first, 2 down. That is right to Grace. Hit real hard, but he has such soft hands. Cubs will have Dawson to lead it off. We go to the 8th, 1-1. Game Sports Center on ESPN, the Emmy award-winning program. Don't miss it. ESPN, the sports network, and don't miss Sunday Night Baseball. Next Sunday, we'll be in Milwaukee. The Brewers will play host to the Cleveland Indians. There is Chuck McElroy warming up now in the bullpen for the Cubs. The pitcher, Scanlan, is due up 5th in this inning, so 1-1 game, Joe. You figure something gets going and his spot comes up, they might pinch hit for him.
I don't think there's any doubt that they would pinch hit for him. The Cubs, as you know, have not been scoring a lot of runs, and if they get an opportunity to score a run, put themselves ahead here, they will take it.
Here's Andre Dawson. Oh, that hit.
They have been pitching Dawson inside all evening long, and they were trying to pitch him inside there, and the ball got away from Mulholland. An 87 mile an hour fastball got him on the left arm. See the catcher set up inside. They've been pitching him inside all evening. He raises his arm to shield his face, and it goes off of his left arm. And they're working on him to see how bad it is. Watch him throw up his left arm to shield his face. He was hit in the face by Eric Schau a few years ago, so he was trying to shield his face right in that situation.
Dawson got hit the other day by Juan Berenguer of the Atlanta Braves, and he started out after Berenguer.
The problem with Andre is that you do not want to pitch him out over the plate. You get the ball out over the plate and he can really hurt you. So most teams try to pitch him inside. And if you pitch a guy inside a lot, balls are going to get away and you're going to get hit. Watch him throw his arm up right there to block the ball from his face. He takes it on the left arm.
Well, when he got hit on the batting helmet by Berenguer and did not take kindly to it. He started out to the mound, and a lot of shouting was done. There was no fighting or anything. But then, as he took his base, Salazar came up, and he got the revenge. He went deep.
Well, maybe Salazar can do it again.
Here he is on his birthday. He is single and hit into a double play. The hit and run is on. Now Dawson heading back to first, and he'll make it.
A lot of people may want to fault Fletcher for that. I don't really fault him for it, because late in the ball game, when a guy takes off, the last thing you want to do is allow him to steal second base. You'd rather have him return to first base by throwing too soon than to stand up and give the guy a chance to steal second.
Both bullpens are busy now. Down the right field line, foul. And it'll drop back in amongst the spectators. 0-2.
Here's the play. Dawson will take off. He will get to about here. He realizes that the guy swings and misses, and he returns to first base. So he's going. Now, Fletcher hears he's going, so his first act is to come up and fire to second base. And Dawson gets back because the throw goes all the way through. A lot of catchers will come up, try to find the runner before they throw. But like I say, late in the ball game, you'd rather have him return to first base and not get him than to hold up and let him steal second base.
That's a high pop-up. Into center. Coming in is Vaughn Hayes. And Salazar is the first out. Dawson goes back to first. Now Sean Dunston. There's Roger McDowell warming up in the Philadelphia bullpen. Veteran right-hander. McElroy up in the Cubs bullpen, a left-hander, and Sean Dunston up at the plate. 1-1 in the top of the 8th inning. Cubs have scored now 3 runs in this entire series. This is the 33rd inning of the series. That's a base hit into left field. Charlie Hayes is over guarding the foul line there. Although that one I think was going to go through anyway. First hit for Dunston. He's 1 for 2 with a run batted in. Jose Martinez, the first base coach, chatting with him.
It's a high fastball from Mulholland, and Dunston gets on top of it and just hits a bullet into left field. It wouldn't have mattered where Charlie Hayes was playing. It was a base hit, but they are guarding the line. At least they were against Dunston. Now against Villanueva, he seems to be off the line. Dunston needed that base hit. He was below the Mendoza line and really struggling.
And 1 for his last 27. He's hit the ball hard tonight. He had that sacrifice fly, a long fly ball in the second. Sharp grounder to third in the 5th, and now a hard single. Into deep right center. Murphy going back at the warning track. In front of the wall, he jumps up and he's got it. Tagging Dawson, he'll go to third and he'll have to stop there. Nice play by Murphy. Dunston back to first.
Another high fastball from Mulholland. He hits it deep to right. Nice play by Murphy. Comes off the wall with it. Dawson tags up. He's going to try to score, but the relay is made perfectly by Murphy. And he has to hold it third. This is unusual. You normally do not tag up on a ball that is in doubt. You only tag up if you know the outfielder is going to catch the ball. Theoretically, if the ball would have been dropped, Dawson would not have been able to score. But he was sure that Murphy was going to catch it, I guess, so he tags up. And now he's going to try to score as he rounds third. He's looking back, and if the play is mishandled, he would have been able to score.
I think Dawson, one superstar, knows another.
Yeah, because the rule of thumb is you only tag up if you're sure he's going to catch the ball. But if you're not sure, you have to go halfway.
Now,
it worked out.
You see Fregosi talking to Hal Lanier, one of his lieutenants, as Chico Walker comes up. Walker, a switch hitter, 33 years old. Most of his career in the minor leagues, he's only had the brief glimpses of life in the big leagues. But here he is. And earlier this week, he hit a clutch home run that helped them come back and defeat the Atlanta Braves. Runners at first and third. The curveball from Mulholland is ball 1. The base runners, Dawson is at third base. And Dunston is over at first. Jordan on the bag with him. Chico Walker. He is 10 for 30 with a home run. Strike. 1-1. Walker used to be a Boston Red Sox farmhand and was playing in the farm system for the Red Sox when Don Zimmer was the manager there. So he's known Chico Walker for a long time. Down the right field line, but foul. Strike 2, 1-2 the count.
Mulholland still seems to be throwing well, John.
Walker hit the home run the other night against Mike Stanton. 2-run shot. Only his 3rd home run ever in the big leagues. the hands. Charlie Hayes cuts over. And Morandini at second for the force out on Dunston. The side is retired. Cubs don't score. It's still tied. Going to the last of the 8th inning, the Cubs have a new pitcher, also acquired from the Phillies in the Mitch Williams trade, Chuck McElroy, 23 years of age.
Well, when I talked to Don Zimmer today, and I asked him about the problems the Cubs have had, true to Don Zimmer's personality, he wanted to talk about the positive things that he's seen so far this year. And this was one of them. Chuck McElroy, Slocum, and, of course, Scanlan. He said these have been very good surprises for him, and he knows that they'll really help him down the stretch.
And McElroy has been murder on left-handed hitters such as Mickey Morandini. They have only 1 hit in 20 at-bats against him this year.
Has a real good fastball and a hard breaking ball.
And the breaking ball, the slider, misses. 1-2 the count. Morandini is struck out, grounded to second, and struck out again. After him, then you get to Kruk and then Dale Murphy. Both bullpens are quiet at the moment. It's a ball. 2-2. The Cubs are guarding the foul lines. See Kruk on deck, and off in the distance there at third base was Luis Salazar guarding the line. There you see him. And Grace is doing the same in first. There's a high foul out of the field of play. Bob Scanlan, the other man acquired in the Mitch Williams trade by the Cubs. 7 innings, 1 run, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts. 2 walks, lowering his earned run average to 1.98. Right back to McElroy. Hit sharply, but he fielded it. And Morandini is now 0 for 4. And Joe, I know you were mostly impressed with what you saw of Scanlan.
Yes, Scanlan has pitched very well. He had, as Don Zimmer said, this guy has been doing a great job for him. This is McElroy's motion. Again, not herky-jerky, just kind of smooth. He's in perfect fielding position when it comes back to him.
So they got another left-handed hitter now. It's John Kruk. 1 ball and no strikes. 1 out, nobody on in the 8th inning. A 1-1 tie. 27,830, the paid crowd. Kruk is flying to left 3 times. Once actually to left center. Caught by DeCenzo, the center fielder. 1 out, nobody on. Now, with the right-handed hitters coming up after Kruk, Mike Bielecki, a right-hander, starts warming up in the Cubs bullpen. We had McElroy on our radar gun at 94 miles an hour with that last pitch.
He throws very hard, and his fastball is a live fastball, meaning it has a lot of movement on it. You may see Bielecki come in to pitch to Murphy if McElroy is able to retire Kruk.
2-1 to John Kruk. There's Murphy on deck. Last night, Kruk foiled the strategy with left-hander Asemacher in. Reaches for that one, and McElroy will take it himself. 2 down. Kruk got the big 2-run double to put the Phillies ahead against Asemacher. And here comes Zimmer.
Don Zimmer does not want Dale Murphy to bat against the left-handed slants of McElroy, so he's going to bring the right-hander in. That's why he had him up. Sometimes you may wonder about this move, though. I think it's a good move in under normal circumstances. But you have to realize they have not been scoring runs. He may need all of his pitchers.
While we have a pitching change in Philadelphia, a pitching change in Detroit. Jack Morris used to toil for the Tigers. Homecoming today as member of the Twins. Cecil Fielder with the 3-run shot. It got worse. Milt Kyler with the grand slam. 7-run first by the Tigers against their old friend Morris. Let's go back to John and Joe.
And ball 1 to Dale Murphy. Mike Bielecki, the right-hander, on to face him here. It's a 1-1 tie. Last of the 8th inning. Murphy's home run, the Phillies' only run of the game. Dunston, the shortstop. Guns it over there. Murphy, he's 1 for 4. The Phillies do not score. We're going to the 9th inning. Top of the order coming up. DeCenzo, Sandberg, and Grace, 1-1. Home run, the Phillies' only run. Here we go to the 9th, and DeCenzo swings and shoots one on 1 hop to Charlie Hayes, who throws him out. He was shallow and right along the line, and the strategy really paid off there. Could well have been extra bases otherwise.
DeCenzo tomahawks this ball. It's a high fastball, and he comes over the top of it. Watch. Right on top of it. Charlie Hayes right in line, guarding against the bunt and guarding against the extra base hit. He accomplishes both. He throws DeCenzo out, but it was a tough shot.
Now Ryne Sandberg has struck out. He's doubled and grounded to short, hitting .272 for the year. Ball one from Mulholland. The bullpen is busy for the Phillies just in case.
This is the time, if you're Mulholland, you have to make sure that you do not miss to the big guys in the middle of the plate.
Popped up, but foul. Sandberg didn't get it.
No, that was the pitch that I guarantee you Sandberg is standing there saying, I wish I had that one back. That was a fastball right in the middle of the plate, and Sandberg got under it.
Sandberg has had success in the past against Mulholland. 9 for 24 with 3 home runs against him. It's fouled back.
That was a better pitch right there.
See Ryne Sandberg in the all-time list of home runs by second baseman. A lot of great names in there. Dorr, Gordon, Hornsby, Gehringer, and my partner, Joe Morgan.
Yeah, that's not the one that manages for Boston, is it?
No, no. We're not talking Morgan's Magic here. We're talking hardball, getting out there and doing it.
Of all the things that I accomplished in my career, like winning championships or whatever, I'm probably most proud of that because to me, Roger Hornsby was really, really special. And those other guys that played that position.
The Raja. Sandberg shoots it foul. About the only way to get it past Charlie Hayes over there would be to hit it foul. He is right on the line. There he is, deep end along the line. He's back near the edge of the outfield turf.
And he'll take a step to his right, closer to the line as the pitch gets ready to come from Mulholland.
Here it comes. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Only the second strikeout from Mulholland, and each time the victim has been Ryne Sandberg.
Well, watch his back shoulder, watch his front shoulder go up. Sandberg is trying to get the Cubs a run. This is an uppercut swing right there, and that's why he misses the pitch. That back shoulder drops, and he's trying to, get one run for the Cubs.
A strike to Mark Grace.
One of the things that Zimmer felt was happening to his ball club, they're all frustrated because they're not scoring runs, they're not hitting in the clutch, but he feels they're all going for the home runs right now instead of trying to hit a single or a double.
0-2 the count to Grace. Now, if he can get on, George Bell would get a shot at it. And you wonder if he gets on, if they might make a change. Right now, Mulholland has it well in hand. The slider misses. 1-2. 1-1, top of the ninth. And Mulholland, what an impressive outing. This is the 5th straight game in which he has gone 8 innings or more. This is easily playable for Thon, and the side is retired. 3 up and 3 down. Jordan, Charlie Hayes, and Fletcher coming up. It's tied at 1. Conversation with A.J. Foyt. Here we are, last of the ninth, a 1-1 tie, and Ricky Jordan, who has been a real hot hitter, takes ball 1 from Bielecki. And he tried to end it with one swing of his bat. A ball and a strike to count. Jordan tonight has struck out, grounded to third, and struck out looking. Slider is low from Bielecki. 2-1. Bielecki's been a starter earlier this year and then moved to the bullpen within the last week to 10 days. 2-1 the count to Jordan. Broken bat, base hit. Nice bit of bad ball hitting there by Jordan.
Jordan gets a high fastball tailing in, and he pushes it off to right field. If you're big and strong, you can do that. He just pushes it to right field. A little late on it, but base hit to right field, and it gives the Phillies a start here in the bottom of the ninth.
And Zimmer looking on here, and he's got somebody getting up in the bullpen now. The batter, Charlie Hayes. He's up to the bunt, and he fouls it off. 0-1. Hayes 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. 1-1.
One of the things that happens when you're in a bunt situation is here's Sandberg here. He will go to first base. Mark Grace comes charging in. The third baseman Salazar charges in. And Dunston goes to second base. That's the rotation play on a bunt. On a regular sacrifice.
And they do it again. The ball is bunted, but foul. That's a foul ball. Plate umpire Fremming immediately signaling foul ball. Now Hayes up here bunting. The man at first is the possible winning run, but he is also a .368 lifetime hitter against Bielecki, 7 for 19. There's Ossenmacher, the ace left-hander in the Cubs bullpen. He's been up almost every day this year. He's been in 20 games. The Cubs have played 36 games, and he's worked in 20 of them. Salazar back behind the bag at third now.
Fregosi has a couple of choices here. So far, Hayes has not been able to bunt him over. He can make him bunt with 2 strikes if he wants, which is not likely. But you can also hit and run. You just have to pick the correct pitch to do it on.
We'll keep an eye on Jordan at first. He is not going, and the bunt is still on, and he ends up striking out on a foul ball bunt that couldn't get the bat out of the way of it.
Well, Fregosi is very upset, but Hayes just cannot get the bat out of the way. And Dennis Minke, one of the coaches, asked him, was the bunt on, and he said yes.
Now here is Darren Fletcher. He has singled and twice has grounded out. So Charlie Hayes unable to get that man, Ricky Jordan, up.
It's a tough situation to bunt in. Once you get 2 strikes on you, it's very tough to bunt the ball because you can't just put it in play. You have to bunt it to either the first base or third base.
And that's a ball outside. Now Jordan is not a base stealing type either. He's not even attempted a steal this year.
But he's a guy that runs pretty well once he gets started, so you can start him in motion on a hit and run and possibly score him on a ball that's hitting the gap.
It's a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to the rookie Darren Fletcher. Dickie Thon is on deck. The left-hander Ossenmacher up in the Cubs bullpen, as we saw. And the Phillies bullpen is once again busy, too. In the last of the ninth. A 1-1 tie. Bielecki, the third Cubs pitcher of the game. There's the short lead at first by Jordan. Grace on the bag with him. And Jordan back to the bag. Jordan in his career has stolen 7 bases in the big leagues. 1 year in the minor league 6 years ago, he stole 26 bases. It's a while back, though. Look out. 2-1.
This is a perfect time for a hit and run if you wanted to put it on and you were the manager of the Phillies. There's Larry Boyle giving the signals to Fletcher and also to Jordan at first base. 2-1. Bielecki's going to try to make sure he gets this ball close to the strike zone. That's why it's such a good hit and run situation.
There he goes. He can't get it. They got him at second base. Dunston took the throw from Villanueva.
That's a matter of guessing incorrectly in the fact that Bielecki did not come close to the plate with the pitch. Fregosi called a hit and run, and it's a good play in this situation. The ball is low and away. No chance for Fletcher to put it in play. He tries, but Villanueva comes up and makes a good throw to second base in time to get the slide in Jordan.
And that is right to Salazar at third, and we're going extra innings from the vet. Second time in this weekend series. Heading for the 10th, tied at 1. On Sunday Night Baseball, 1-1 as we go to the 10th inning, and a couple of changes for the Philadelphia Phillies. But first, let's go back and look at that play in the 9th.
Well, as a hit and run, you can see Fletcher's trying to hit the ball through the shortstop hole because Dunston is covering. Ideally, that's what you try to do. But But your real job is to get the ball in play. He does not get it in play. Villanueva's throw is in plenty of time, and Dunston applies the tag to Jordan sliding in.
Roger McDowell, the new pitcher. Ace reliever out there. He's a veteran, and he's having a real fine start to his season. And he has not given up many hits. He's been giving up a lot the last 2-3 years.
Well, the real problem there, John, is he's walked 12 guys in the 29 innings against 13 strikeouts. He will walk you on occasion if you have a lot of patience. Steve Lake is the new catcher, and he will hit in the 9th slot, and McDowell will hit in the 7th slot. The reason you make the double switch is so that you will not have to use another pinch hitter or take the pitcher out in this situation, because he would be the second hitter coming up in the bottom of the 10th inning, and you want to use McDowell for more than one inning. Therefore, you go ahead and make the double switch.
McDowell will be the 9th hitter in the rotation of the lineup now. George Bell takes a sinker, ball 1. And the Phillies have that exaggerated infield defense. The third baseman, Charlie Hayes, is deep and hugging that foul line. Bell has singled and scored the Cubs' only run. He's fouled to first, and he is flying to right. See the defense, the infield all spread out, the outfield very deep.
If George Bell hits McDowell's pitches in the air, you know he's in a slump.
Nice play by Thon. Can he get it?
McDowell has a great sinker. It's almost impossible to hit the ball in the air. George Bell gets a sinker and hits it up the middle. Dickie Thon makes a great dive, but it takes him just a little bit too long to get up and make the throw. And Bell was hustling all the way, beats it out at first base. George Bell could smell this base hit, and he needed it.
And you can see, excellent call there by Greg Bonet, the first base umpire. Now Bell replaced by a guy who can steal a base, Jerome Walton. Here's Andre Dawson. Bunts at it and misses, strike 1. When's the last time Andre Dawson laid down a bunt?
Great idea, though. Charlie Hayes is deep behind the bag at third base, and if Dawson could have gotten that ball down, no doubt it would have been a base hit. I don't think you'll see him squaring around to sacrifice. He was just trying to beat it out for a base hit and move the runner into scoring position. It's a great idea.
And Walton is back. Dawson is flying to right. He is singled, and he's been hit by a pitch. There's Jordan on the bag with Walton at first. Walton, 3 steals this year in 4 attempts. Dawson, no indication of the bunt there. Well, backhanded by Lake, and the count is 1-1. Well, we're in extra innings. The Phillies in extra innings for the 9th time this year.
There you can see that Dawson has not done very well against McDowell. And if he drops the ball down, gets a base hit, it will be leading by example.
Base hit! Through that wide open left side. Kruk up with the ball. Bell stops at second, and the Cubs are in business here in the 10th.
When you have McDowell on the mound, you will see a lot of ground balls because his ball sinks so hard, straight down almost. So you will get a ground ball. It's a matter of whether you hit it at someone or you find a hole. And the Cubs have found 2 holes here in the 9th inning. Big hole on the left side because Charlie Hayes is guarding the line at third, and Dickie Thon has to play over near the bag for the double play. So a big hole on the left side.
Now Fregosi looks on. He's got to decide what he wants his infield defense to do in this bunt situation. Ball 1. Pretty conventional defense there.
No, it really wasn't. The second baseman someone had a mix-up there, John. The second baseman went to second base. And in the conventional defense, he has to go to first base. Now he's given a signal. Someone made a mistake there.
So Morandini thought the rotation play was on, but shortstop Dickie Thon wasn't rotating.
And then Charlie Hayes wasn't charging. So to me, it was Morandini's fault that he misunderstood the sign.
He got the wrong info. He got the right info wrongly. Bunted, foul by Salazar.
See, he did it correctly that time. He went to first base where he's supposed to go in the regular bunt situation. Unless it's a rotation play, he's not supposed to go to second base.
Cottier with the signs. It was a conventional defense for everybody except Morandini.
Yeah. If the ball would have been bunted, there would have not have been anyone at first base to cover if they would have had to go that way. Salazar is a good bunter.
Kickoff. And it's off the glove of Morandini. Oh, a terrible error there at a terrible time for the Phillies. It'll be an error to McDowell.
What they were doing there, John, is they were faking the rotation play and trying to pick off Bell at second base. See, you see in the background Dickie Thon taking off. You'll see Walton is the runner for Bell at second. He takes off, Thon does, and they try to throw behind him.
Out of play.
What they were trying to do is get Walton to take off with Dickie Thon as he broke for third, and then pick him off at second base.
All of a sudden, the Phillies, with one breakdown in execution after another. There's Walton at third base, the possible go-ahead run, and Dawson is at second. And there is nobody out. The infield is in. The outfield is backed up for Luis Salazar. Look out. He's safe. No, it's foul ball. Foul ball.
That's an interesting play right there. The reason it's interesting is because there could be interference called on that play. Watch, it's a chopper to third. Going back is Walton, and you can say he interfered with Hayes being able to make the catch and the throw. And you see Bruce Fromming saying, "Get back here." Foul ball.
Dunston's already to bat. Dunston was in the batter's box, but it was a foul ball. And Salazar still up.
Again, this is a very interesting play. It's chopped toward the bag. Now, Charlie Hayes has the right to catch the ball. Walton is trying to get back to the bag. It looked like it was, from the angle we had there, it looked like it could have been a fair ball, but they have a closer look at it down there than I do.
We really would have
a different angle.
We would have needed a camera looking right up that line to see what Hirschbeck saw. It's not where the fielder was, but where the ball was. Yeah. He ruled that the ball itself was on the foul side of the line. That's a base hit to right center. Now Walton will score. Dawson will not even try. He'll hold as Murphy comes up with it. And it is 2-1 Chicago.
That was an interesting pitch by McDowell. It's almost impossible to get McDowell's fastball in the air. But he was trying to fool him with a breaking ball, and it hangs up, and Salazar flipped it to right field. Watch, if he throws a sinker down, it's almost impossible for you to get it in the air. That was a little slider that stayed up in the air, and Salazar just flipped it to right field. Good piece of hitting by Salazar.
And on his birthday, he has driven in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning. Clutch hit for Luis Salazar. Cumpleaños feliz. Phillies bullpen is getting busy again as Fregosi visits the mound. And the Cubs bullpen is busy too.
And Vizcaino is going to pinch run at first base for Salazar.
Darrell Ackerfelds, the right-hander, is up in the Philadelphia bullpen.
Is running at first base for Luis Salazar.
3 straight hits to start the inning, plus a wild pickoff throw. And here is Sean Dunston. Runners at first and third. The Phillies bring the infield in again. Well, the Phillies had a chance to manufacture a run in the 9th themselves. Couldn't get the bunt down. Then the busted hit and run play, and the whole thing disintegrated. There's strike one swinging, 0-1. Well, now it's all in the reverse here. The Cubs get it rolling, and then the Phillies again hurt themselves with the lack of execution of the pickoff play. They've been their own worst enemy these last 2 innings. To Hayes. Now Dawson breaks. They'll run him down. Andre's job is to stand the run down as long as he can. And Thon will make the tag. Stopping at second was Vizcaino, and over to first is Dunston.
The Phillies handled this play very well. By that, I mean they did not allow Dawson enough time to let the other runners move up. Hayes catches him in the rundown. He doesn't give up the ball too quickly. Now he gives it to Lake, and Lake does exactly the right thing. Chase him all the way back to third. Now give it up. And Dawson's dead there.
Now
and running him back to third kept the other runners from moving up one base.
Here's Villanueva. Now, one thing, Dawson runs there. If he doesn't run, they might turn a double play.
They would not have gone for the double play. What they would have done is throw to second base, get a force out, and then hold Dawson. And that way they would have kept the double play in order.
So did Dawson make a mistake? He shouldn't have run?
If he had it to do all over again, I guarantee he wouldn't have run. I don't think he should have run, no. They're not going to turn the double play.
Villanueva with a count of 1-1. He has walked, grounded out, and he was robbed of extra bases by Dale Murphy in the 8th. Sinker misses. 2-1. 2-1 the score. The Cubs out in front here in the 10th.
The Phillies got out of that exactly what they wanted, so they would rather have Dawson runs at first and second with 1 down than to have Dawson score and have 2 down. So they were not going to go for the double play.
Right. But you're saying even if Dawson stood firmly, they wouldn't have tried for the double play?
No, they may have gone to second for the force out, but they're not going to throw to first base and allow him to score.
Cubs have had Dave Smith warming up in their bullpen, and we've just seen him walk in from the bullpen into the dugout. He's their closer. It's a foul. And Dwight Smith is in the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Bielecki. The pitcher is due up next. 2-1 in the 10th inning. The Cubs ahead. The base runners, Vizcaino at second and Dunston at first. George Bell got this started with an infield hit. It's ironic that the Phillies have made these mistakes the last couple of innings because they played real well tonight and made some fine defensive plays. 2-2. Swing. No, says Fremick. You swung at it. Strike 3. Now Dwight Smith will come up.
McDowell has only made 1 mistake. He got the pitch up to Luis Salazar. Every other pitch he's had down, like this one, and they've swung at him and hit ground balls. They have not been able to get the ball into the outfield. So if you stay with that low sinker, you're going to have a chance to keep the Cubs from scoring, but he hung the breaking ball, and Salazar singled to right. The only ball that's been hit out of the infield.
Right to the shortstop, Dickie Thon. Look out. Great hustle there by Dunston. Made it close, and he might have hurt himself. We'll be back. Field for the Cubs. Doug DeCenzo moves from center over to left field with Bell out of the game now. Jose Vizcaino stays in the game to play third base after he went in as a runner for the man who looks like a hero right now, Luis Salazar. And there's the man to try and make sure that he is, Dave Smith, the closer. 9 saves already. A high earned run average. He had some trouble earlier. Turned out his arm was not quite right. Blew some saves. There's ball 1 to Dickie Thon.
Well, he blew about 4 saves in a row there in the middle. He started off very well, blew about 4, and now all of a sudden he blew 3 in a row actually, and now all of a sudden he has had 5 saves after resting his arm. So he's been doing a good job.
Thon with a high pop-up. Dunston going out from short, but there is Walton to call him off, and he makes the catch. 1 away. 1 down. Remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Holy cow! Without the express written consent of Major League Baseball.
I thought you were going to get up and sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" in the 7th inning. You tricked me.
Let me hurry ya! Everybody! A 1! Steve Lake, the hitter. And the breaking ball in there for a strike. I didn't see Harry. Is he here tonight?
I saw him down on the field earlier, so he is here.
That's right.
Yeah, he was down on the field.
Here's the pitch. Oh, I can't
believe they called that a ball.
2-0 the count. Steve Lake hitting in the 9th position, up for the first time.
The thing about working with you, John, is it gives me an opportunity to work with all the greats. Jim Scully, Harry Carey, Jack Buck, you know, all the great, you know, the Harry Calses.
Right.
I'm the only analyst that gets to do that.
Right. You mentioned all those guys, but you don't mention me.
Well,
2-2 the count. 2-2 pitch, low and outside. Well, you know, Joe, it's interesting to know that John Miller and all those voices, I believe the best baseball broadcaster in America in his price range. Strike 3 to Lake, and he can't believe it. He thought he had the walk.
Dave Smith throws a fastball, a changeup, a curveball. And we'll get a look at this. Is a breaking ball, looks like a curveball, and Steve Lake thought it was low. Bruce Fleming says no, strike 3.
Shaping up to be a real tough night for the Phillies. A bitter night here for them. They wasted, perhaps it's not over yet, Vaughn Hayes, who has never done anything against Smith, trying to get something going. 2 down in the 9th. The Cubs guarding the foul lines. And that's ball 2. Hayes is 1 for 3 with a walk tonight. But the Phillies had a chance to manufacture a run in the 9th. Couldn't get the bunt down. A busted hit and run play. And then it all kind of disintegrated in the top of the 10th. Sinker misses. 3-0 to Hayes. 2-1. Now, Jason Stark with the Philadelphia Inquirer earlier this week talking about all of the extra inning games in baseball. 26% more so far this year than last year. There's a long high drive, but playable in right for Andre Dawson. This should do it, and the ball game is over. And Joe, the Chicago Cubs have to scratch and claw their way to it, but they get the victory even though Mulholland pitched a heck of a game against them.
Well, it points out what Don Zimmer said, that he's very pleased with his pitching staff. He just needs these good hitters to get hot, and they're not hot yet.
And for the Phillies, who have been so hot, tonight they lose a ball game, which I'm sure they may feel they should have won. They certainly could have. The Cubs escape here with a victory, and they gain a full game of the first-place Pirates tonight. The Pirates losing earlier. The Cubs are heading to New York, 5 games out. Sports Center is next Saturday, or Sunday night rather. We'll be in Milwaukee, 8 p.m. Eastern. The final 2-1, John Miller, Joe Morgan. Good night.